Background noise. I'm getting out on my computer, but guys, I got another chess video. I've been practicing solely as black because I need to get my black ability up. So in this case, I played that. I think I meant to play d4, but I decided I'd do both of these and then just shoot out d4 after that. So it's what I call a chess presupposition. Anytime you see someone placing a pawn, it could be a presupposition they're going to place another pawn. So then this is how the game went. So after I started out with e6, then c6, and then I went d5, and then I went after I went bishop to d6. I feel like saying d3. I'm sorry, it's just natural because to me that's d3. But I really think I like old notation better. Anyway, I made I've got a lot of control already in the board. I feel like it's really advantageous. Then they did this, took the knight, they took, and then I took, and then they put that pawn down. I moved knight f6, attacking the pawn. They put a pawn down. I believe I captured it with my bishop. They captured their queen, which I thought was stupid, because then I can just move this pawn up. Then the queen has to retreat, but then they check me. That's fine. But since I'm up material, they didn't want to do a trade, so they moved out of the way. Good job. But then I took that pawn, and it's defended by the knight. I was hoping the queen would take, but they castled at this point. They already lost a lot. Well, then they just moved a pawn down instead of doing that, so they gave me their queen. Then took with the bishop. Still thought they did have a good chance of winning still, I guess. I mean, it's playable, but it's very bad. Anyway, I just continued to develop like this. I didn't really care too much. I just put my pawn there. Moved that pawn past that one because I really didn't care, as I said. Then I was gradually moving that one pawn in front of the. Let me think about it for a second. F4. I want to say it right. That's not F4. That's F5. F5 bishop. Yeah, because I think about it, dude. I count upwards. I don't count downwards. I count upwards. To me, that's F4. I think both players should call it F4. It'd be easier. Jesus Christ. I like that. I like it when it was. I like it better when that was King Bishop 4. King Bishop 4 is much better. The bishop on King Bishop 4. Bishop to King Bishop 4. King to Bishop 4 right there. The King on Bishop 4. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than all this other shit. It's so much more intuitive. This is it's like a mathematician. It's like because we wanted engines to do it, but humans don't think that way. Anyway, so I then they captured my queen. I didn't think of that. But it didn't matter. I wasn't really worried about it because I had a plan, which is, what I always say when I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, they captured the pawn for some reason. It shows you the lack of valuation. And now I'm only one pawn up, I guess, according to the engine. But I was very comfortable. I knew I was going to win this. I mean, there's no question. It's not very competitive. Now, you notice that the knight does control a few of the squares. But there's a simple way to get the knight away. And the simple way is to just, they can attack and take that pawn right now, but they couldn't then. You see right there? And if they did attack that pawn, I would just probably move the rook over and try to just continually harass the knight. Plus, there's another pawn right there, so I could probably do something with that. Anyway, they didn't. They're stupid, so they didn't do anything. So then I got another queen, so it didn't matter that I lost my queen. I moved my queen all the way down to that diagonal. Then started trying to checkmate. Took with the pawn. Moved the pawn up. Jesus, I'm tired. God damn it. What's the way to turn all notifications off on a phone? I'm going back to my computer. I'm so sorry for the low quality of this. I'm getting distracted by messages. I don't want message notifications. I'm tired of them. I want do not disturb. There should be an option for that. Let me examine and I will find. Alright, do not disturb is on, so hopefully if I get any more interruptions, they won't be it. So we'll just kind of review. We'll go you're gonna get extra content because I want to go through this game uninterrupted. I am sorry. So basically, I did the whole thing with the presupposition. You get that. Now it's in a mountain, but I didn't do it how I normally would, and I also kind of treated it a little like you would a London. In my way of doing it, I don't know why they moved the knight there and then immediately gave it to me, because then I'm like, right now I'm actually 3 pawns up to begin with in material. Then I became like, 4 pawns up in the thing, and then they took things. So now I'm just 1 pawn up, but I still think I'm more than 1 pawn up. I don't agree with the engine a lot of the time. The book Think Like a Machine shows you a lot of stuff. I want to get the book that talks about the Leela Zero stuff and what it shows you about chess. And if it actually tells you the strategy Leela Zero, like, has any helpful hints. Like, we should be using AI to figure out how to play better chess, not using AI to, like, oh, the AI is better than humans. No, it's not. We made it. The AI is human. The AI is human. The AI is us. It is a reflection of our thought process. We made those things, and we figured out a way to make a machine that can calculate moves efficiently. But whose thought was that? Whose idea was that? Is Leela Zero a person? No. Was Leela Zero a concept made by a person and then implemented and built? Yes. And then, by the way, Stockfish with New took all the information from them, and now it beats Leela. So that Stockfish is still the reigning champion. It beat Stockfish for a while. Now they're the reigning champ. So yeah. Anyway, rook move and all that. Then they move that pawn down. The taking was a mistake. I didn't even think of that. I got taken. Okay, done. That moves up. Knight moves. Then I move my bishop up there, attacking the rook. They just took the pawn. I can kind of see why I'd want to take the pawn, because if I move it 1 up, you'll get a check. And then I'll have a lot of options, I guess. Like, I can do a lot of annoying stuff. But I don't see why you do that at the expense of a rook, because that puts me 4 pawns up. Then they capture it, and then we're back in balance. But material this engine on chess.com is so materialistic. I mean, this is not a bad game. I mean, but I play like kind of sloppy. That's just my style. I don't play like sharp games where I do a lot of stuff. I just do what feels right. And even when I get world-class level, even when I become good, because I'm not going to stop until I do, even when I become the best I can and I hit my genetic limit, which, see that trick? That was on purpose, by the way. So the cool part is the pawn goes up. So we have this knight, right? Now the knight, so basically what this knight it was threatening that pawn promoted, queen goes down. Now that's those long diagonals. That's what I mean by misdirection. Now, if I could have landed on f6, I would have, because then I could have attacked the rook immediately. But the king moved down. I moved my rook there to threaten the knight, so it moved. Then after the knight moved, I moved the queen to threaten the rook. Rook moves right in front of the knight. Pawn takes. Now look, I know they were aligned. That was on purpose. There's a method to my madness here. Just follow along. That pawn goes down. It's not no threat. If I take it, I can even move to, I couldn't move to a diagonal and check. They're tempting me to try to check. I wouldn't check. If I was going to check, what I would do is I would take that pawn, or I would go, if I wanted to check, I'd move to c6. If I wanted to check, I'd move to c6. But I can't, because there's that annoying rook there, so I can't check. So you see what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to bait me into several things. So it's kind of clever, but I don't actually think it's trying to do that. I think a lot of the things we think are brilliant in chess are actually coincidences. You really think the king moved back up there and had those pawns in that position in order to have my queen, move down, in case my queen moves down there? If it moves to the left, it gets attacked by a pawn while trying to check me. And if it moves to if it moves to g6, then it'll get taken by a pawn. It's trying to bait me into moving to g6 check, take my pawn. Or moving to g5 check, take by pawn. But also it calculated on 1100 that since it has its rook on c7, if I might be tempted to check the king that's on g2 by going to c6. And if I go to c6, the rook on c7. No, I don't believe that. So I took advantage of this and just did that. Why is that taking advantage? Because then I can take with the rook. So once I take with the rook, well, now I'm good. Now I just got to get rid of that damn bishop. So I decided I would do something clever. Watch this. Go over, check, take, and then now it's almost over. Checks, checkmate. So let's review the game one more time just to go through it more, less angrily, and just show you what I mean, what things I could have done better and whatnot. Because I'm practicing as black only now. I go through phases. I want to get both down. And the more I understand playing both sides, the more I understand how to fight both sides. I don't practice specific openings because there really is only two styles, open and closed, and deployment. And I'm currently reading Nimzovich's book. I really like it. I want to, again, read Fisher's book now that I have more of a comprehension. But anyway, so I played, E6 and C6. Then they played knight F3. So I think they started, they did the ready, I think. Yeah, they did the ready. I played... There's a thing you can do with the ready that's interesting. You can play like, what is it? You don't play E5 because they'll just take. You play like D5 and then like I think knight F6. I don't know. I have it in my reference notes. I made some commentary on a game that I have. I make commentary on them all the time. Anyway, so then they played knight F3. Really weird shit. Like they're fianchettoing, but they're putting the C pawn out, like, see, kind of like a weird, I don't know what it is, a queen's gambit or something. Anyway, I did that. I don't know what that opening that's called at all, but it's something. Anyway, I then moved my bishop over to D6, and after I moved to D6, I took the knight, and then the pawn takes, and then I moved the knight in to attack the pawn, so there's two attackers on that pawn. Then I took there. They took with the queen, which I thought was really weird. I don't know why you would expose your queen that early, but like again, 1100. Whenever I see that they're about to fianchetto, I like to get a strong center so that I can at least avoid some problems. Anyway, attacking the queen. Queen moves there, checks me. Move queen there. Since I'm up material, they back out, of course. So the queen moved quickly down from D4 down, up technically to E5. Then after they moved to E5, they moved over to F4. So the queen's on F4 right now. Well, then pawn takes. Now, if the queen were to take the pawn on E4, then I would take the queen to the knight. They castle because they know they're in deep shit. Anyway, move the knight and attack. Now, they move a pawn down. I take, they take. And I got a pretty good lead in both piece activity and everything else. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good here. I castle. My queen's on the second rank. The only thing is that light squared bishop and the rook, but don't worry about that. That'll be fixed in a bit, as you've already seen. So now I move my knight over to here where it's safe. I always like to make save moves where things are defended. So there's two defenders of the knight, the pawn and the queen. Now, they moved a pawn down on their queen side, so that queen side pawn is there. I'm not going to take it because I don't want to take it because I don't want to free the rook. I'm not helping them in the rook development. Anyway, then bishop moves to defend the pawn, so I did some more development. Then move my rook out of the way there because I'm concerned, because they do have a light squared bishop that they take, then I'm in line of fire. But they blocked their own thing in later, so it didn't really matter. And then I was a dumbass, and after moving that pawn up, I decided to take for some reason. And if I'd had my rook under there, like rook E8, that would have been a good idea. Didn't. Anyway, so yeah, whatever. So knight gets scared by the pawn over to there. Then I move the bishop there. The bishop takes, I take. They take, and then knight, so I move my knight over to D5, attacking both the rook and the bishop. That's the most my goal. The rook moved and took my pawn, so I just took the bishop. Then that was kind of a trade. Then I have the option to take the pawn. They target it. I don't care. I just continue moving. The king moves over to h1. I check the king. Then I move an escape square in case they try to do some funny business on the back rank. And I wanted to just... I mean, I know I'm in the range of the knight right there, but hey, what are you going to do, man? Queen, what are they going to do now at this point? They let me queen. Any intelligent individual would have caught that pawn, and then I would have probably... I don't know what I would have had to do. I'd have to have thought about something... I would have probably had to like take the knight first. I think on a higher level I would have tried to I would have neutralized the knight before I did that because there's no way. But I mean, most people couldn't beat this spot. Most people in the world, you're not gonna face many people that are 1,200, 1,100, anywhere near this skill. So if you're playing chess with your friends, you don't have to do this stuff. I mean, I played with a bunch of people. They're not this good. I met no one that can do this in real life. I've seen people, online. I've met people that, like a few of my friends can. But, and everyone loses. You got to remember, everyone's going to lose sometimes. But look at this. Now we have 2 queens. And then poop. But that was a distraction so I could take the rook. Yeah. So that was literally the idea. Then check. Then check. Then take. And then now we have a mating net, basically. And the mating net's set. Checkmate. And that's how that game went. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that's an instructive game here. Thank you. Bye. Also, people, wish me luck on becoming a grandmaster, because I will want to one day, or an IM, or an FM, or an anything really. I just want to get good. I'm starting to GoFundMe so that I can compete in tournaments and that I can cover expenses. My goal is, since it's $50 an hour for chess lessons, chess books, chess coaching, possibly hotels, whatnot, I might try to set a goal of 100,000, but even 5,000, even 1,000 would be great. I'm going to try to start marketing my YouTube channel a little more. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be back on my computer in a bit. I still got to use my phone for now. I'm so sorry. Puff off the old vape. Anyway, thank you. Peace.